Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-Kun, episode 12. If this feeling isn't love, then there is no love at all. The episode in a nutshell is a reminder of what happened within this episode. So the chocolates from the post-credit scene of the last episode are brought to school with Sakura, who's basically says that they aren't expired yet, but that she bought them planning to give them to Nozaki for Valentine's Day, but she never actually got the chance to. And the reason that she didn't get the chance to was because he was very excited about Valentine's Day. We then get a couple of flashbacks of, a month before Valentine's Day, him being super excited about it because of like the manga opportunities. Then, like a week before, going in and seeing all of the displays and the packaging so that he can use it as inspiration for his mangas. And then, of course, on actual Valentine's Day, he ran all over the school. Anytime anyone announced anyone was getting chocolates, confessed to, etc., etc., he was all over the place. And Sakura, unfortunately, could not keep up, could not catch up, and therefore ended up not giving him the chocolates that she had bought, but she offers to share the chocolates with Sayo and Kashima, who then tell her that she should just give them to Nozaki now because she originally bought them for him. So she decides to walk through the school with an open box of chocolates to try to find Nozaki to give them to him, thinking that he'll eat them naturally because it's not Valentine's Day, so he won't associate a meaning to it. And then he bumps into her, and because she's walking around with the box of chocolates open, they fall all over the floor. And he worries that maybe she's mad, and she assures him that she's not mad, but that she had hoped that they would eat them together. He interprets this as her subtly telling him that she's really mad, so he goes and decides to eat one off the floor. And basically looks up at her like, is this all right? Are you okay now? And then she's like super happy. And she's incredibly happy that he ate it. He's like, oh my gosh, like the sadist, she's so happy that she made me eat off the floor in her anger. And he continues to apologize, and she says that it's fine. And then he offers to, like replace the chocolates with like another type of candy. And he's, of course, his side of the screen is all like blue and black and like depression, like, oh my gosh. And her side is all golden and flowery and sparkles because she's like, oh, it's like White Day, I'm getting return chocolate candy. And meanwhile, he's still trying to appease her for having made her angry. And then she returns to Seo and Kashima, who basically ask her if he ate the chocolates, and she said sort of, and then if everything turned out well, and she says sort of. Then they encourage Kashima that she may be getting better at singing whilst plugging their ears. Sayo and Sakura do that. Before we then move on to the second part of the episode, which is that there is a festival going on, and all of the characters arrive at the festival. Sakura and Mikoshiba choose more traditional clothing, whereas everybody else is in everyday clothing. And they basically go about the festival in various shenanigans. Mikoshiba compliments Sakura in the very obvious hopes that she'll compliment him back, which she does oblige and do. Sayo arrives with Kashima, who then Sayo leaves because she spots Wakamatsu with Nozaki, and so then basically Wakamatsu's dragged around with Sayo, but has the accidental misunderstanding that Kashima, who looks very masculine, is Sayo's boyfriend, and that she's using him to make Kashima jealous, which of course is not the case. We then have Hori walking around the festival, with his friend, and then realizes that Nozaki's gonna want to use it for the manga. So he starts taking pictures, but rather than taking pictures of all the stalls lined up, he's taking pictures of the alleyway where Mamako might get hit on, the desolate back of the festival stands, and then, the view where Mamako might slip and fall, so he lays down and then he turns the camera up for her view when Suki arrives to help him, and of course Kashima's there, so he tells her not to move, takes the pictures, then says that she did a good job, and then offers to buy her something in response. So then they go off together. Meanwhile, Sakura bumps into Nozaki, who then, when the fireworks begin, takes her from above so that they can take pictures of all the people gathering at the stalls and then also watch the fireworks. And then we get a few snippets of just everybody enjoying the festival. Mikoshiba's using like the gacha machines to get little figurines out of them. Seo and Wakamatsu with the fish and running around. Kashima and Hori. And then we also get a cameo of Mayu, who we didn't actually get to see in the series because it didn't make it far enough, but who is a recurring supporting character in the mangas, which is obviously very exciting for various reasons. And then, of course, we get Nozaki and Sakura watching the fireworks, and she's thinking about how, while their relationship hasn't regressed, she keeps falling more and more in love with him, and how she's sure he just sees her as a friend, but and then she slips and says it out loud that she loves him. And then, of course, the fireworks stop just as she says that, and she's not sure if he heard her or not, and she kind of panics about it because as much as she claims to be in love with him, she's clearly not at a maturity level to handle a relationship at this point if she can't even handle letting the person she supposedly loves know that she loves them. And then he responds back that he also loves the fireworks. Basically, like he says, I feel the same. I love the fireworks. So basically, her confession supposedly went right over his head, and they're back to square one, but she laughs, as that is what is expected, and that is where the episode and the season 1 ends. Now that we've been reminded what happened in the episode, it's now time to rank the episode, and as always, we will rank on our 2 lists, the mostly objective ranking list that uses set values to determine the score, followed by the personal ranking list, which uses the entertainment value and opinion to pick the score. So for this episode, there is the single episode supporting character introduction, which is Mayu Nozaki, who is the younger brother of Umataro Nozaki, who is our main character. And, well, like I said, in the manga, he is a recurring supporting character who's often paired off with Mikoshiba for whatever shenanigans they're going to get into. And it's unfortunate that the anime series never made it far enough for him to actually become a multi-episode supporting or main character as he is in the manga. But we do get this cameo at the end, which, as someone who is a fan of the manga, I really appreciated because it's like at least we got to see him briefly. So that's 1 point. Then there's +4 for our multi-episode main character development. And this is where we get to learn how Nozaki and Sakura first met. It's been hinted at in previous episodes, but this is where we get the full flashback. So Sakura, she's late. Oh, I forgot this part in the summary. I just realized I completely skipped over the flashback. Well, we're getting it now. Anyways, the flashback. We start at the entrance ceremony. Sakura's late. The gates are closed. She's panicking. She's about to cry because she doesn't want to miss her entrance ceremony, but she was late. And Nozaki, meanwhile, is at the top of the fence and he's fallen asleep because he had a hard day of writing manga. And basically, he sees her and offers to help her climb the fence. However, she unfortunately does not have the skill, even with assistance, to climb the fence. So he hops down and then he grabs her waist and lifts her up over the fence before joining her onto the other side. And she, of course, wonders if he's a ruffian and thanks him. And he mentions how he was planning to maybe skip the entrance ceremony day. And she wonders why he didn't. And then he says that he wanted the little flower and like the little flower things that they give to pin on the blazers and whatnot. And she, imagines it as like a ruffian who's, got that softer side and decides that he is a good guy after all. But in Nozaki's thoughts, it's for reference for his manga that he wanted it. Um, and then of course they go through. And then of course, Sakura's hairstyle in this scene is different from her usual two bows, one on each side, and she just had one bow at the back of her head. And we can see with the way that her hair is done that she looks more like Mamako, and in the manga that's also implied that she might have been the inspiration for Mamako's looks, though Mamako's personality was inspired by Mikoshiba based on this scene. Then, so that of course is a development. And then also I put a general strong plot concept into the points because I think that the festival overall was a very strong plot concept. We kind of get closure for all of the characters. They may start off coming with different people, but they all end up in their various pairings, except Mikoshiba, of course. Um, Throughout the festival and interacting with each other, interacting with multiple of the characters. So it's a good closure to the first season where all of the characters that we've met throughout the season and seen in their own little snippets all are able to come together and interact together. And then, of course, you have that final scene with the fireworks, which is where Sakura finally gets to say she loves you. She says love you to Nozaki, who, of course, is who she loves, and she says she loves him. But of course, he comes back with that he feels the same. He also loves fireworks. So either purposefully not having the same feelings and so letting her down easy by redirecting it towards fireworks so that she doesn't have to be outright rejected, or it went completely over his head and he does not realize that she meant she loves him, or maybe he realized that she may have said that, but based on the panic on her face, wasn't actually ready to confess or be in a relationship. Her maturity level just isn't there yet, and then, basically redirected it and let it off. I don't know what scenario he was thinking, but I do think it was one of them. And overall, like I said, I think the whole festival plot was a very strong plot concept. The one with the chocolates at the start, honorable mention. I'm not taking points for it, but don't eat off the floor. That is disgusting. And also, why are you walking around with chocolates with the bag like wide open and then not paying attention to where you're going? She was basically asking for an accident to happen, which of course she was because the plot required it. But I don't think those are negative behaviors enough to like actually take the points. Though, don't eat off the floor. Lesson to take away from the episode. And that leaves us with a 9 out of 10 episode for our season finale. So that brings our season 1 rankings on our mostly objective ranking to our final list, as this is the last episode of season 1. And in first, we have This Love, is being turned into a shoujo manga. Say Hello to the New Heroine comes in second. Third, The Man Who Envisions Love. Fourth, I'll Cast a Spell on You. Fifth, If This Feeling Isn't Love, Then There Is No Love at All, which is this finale episode. Then in sixth, There Are Times When Men Must Fight. 7th, the prince girl of the school's problems. 8th, violence versus the prince. 9th is Let's Rice. In 10th, we have manga artist Brain, Nozaki-Kun. 11, what strengthened is our bonds and our reigns. And then in 12th, we have Do You Have Enough Excitement? So personal ranking, I did enjoy the festival part of the episode. Like I said, I found it to be very nice how they brought all of the characters that we've interacted so far all together in one event to kind of pair off and go in their various directions. I liked that we got the cameo of Mayu. What I didn't necessarily like was, of course, that first part with the chocolates eating off the floor. Really, really disgusting. Did not enjoy that at all. And of course, the whole point of this was that it wasn't Valentine's Day that she was giving him the Valentine's Day chocolates. So it's like, why are you even then bothering to have this Valentine's theme episode? I feel like it didn't necessarily add anything to the episode. I did enjoy, though, the flashback to Nozaki's actual Valentine's Day when he was running all over the place and causing misunderstandings because of his excitement for Valentine's Day, with the boys of the class thinking that he's looking forward to getting chocolate when really he's just looking up forward to the manga opportunities. And then when the girls see how excited he is about Valentine's Day, they then talk about White Day, and in his mind he's looking from the manga perspective of bland packaging, bland displays, we don't need White Day, and they take offense and decide to give him no obligatory chocolate, which basically means he got no chocolate on Valentine's Day, but he was super satisfied because he got all of the inspiration he had been hoping for, though of course Sakura couldn't give him the chocolates there. So I did like that part. Sakura and Nozaki, I go back and forth. On the one hand, so one of the biggest tropes in anime that I just find so silly is this anime girls, for whatever reason, the guy is nice to them one singular time. And all of a sudden they are in love for life. They will never look at anybody else. He is the entire world that they look at. And I'm like, that is the most unrealistic and unbelievable thing that I have ever seen. Anytime, like, there's a manga or an anime where they're trying to convince you that this female character loves this guy because he was nice to her as a child, or nice to her once, or did one good deed one time, and then was a jerk the rest of the time, but somehow she's still in love with him, I'm like, makes no sense. This one only takes the trope halfway. She did fall in love with him because he did something nice once, one time, without her ever knowing him. Then she has a crush from afar, and then we get the start of the episode where she finally works up the courage to talk to him, but chickens out on giving the actual confession. And I think that's just because Sakura's maturity level, it's just not at a point where they would ever work as a couple, because if you can't even tell the person you're supposedly in love with that you love them, maybe you're not ready to be with them. And even after like that first failed attempt, I mentioned this in the first episode, once you actually get to know him and you know what kind of character he has and that he's not going to react in a cruel or mean way to your confession, then if you were ready to be in a relationship with him, you would be able to at least confess and get an actual response and not be left in limbo, because you know he's not going to be cruel about it. So you would be able to, like, the first time you don't know him well beyond that one time he was nice to you, and you don't know how he would react, so I can understand chickening out. But then they become friends, they spend time together, she learns what kind of person he is. So at that point, knowing who he is, she should then be able to make that confession, and the fact that she can't, or when she does by accident, immediately panics and wants to take it back, shows that she just isn't ready to actually be in a relationship. So it's like, why are you wasting all her time trying to build up to a relationship, talking about how much she loves him, when she isn't even at a maturity level where she can confess to him and take either the we're going into a relationship now or the rejection or the friend zoning. Like, she can't accept the consequences of having a confession, therefore she is not yet at a place where she should be having a relationship. And then at that point, is it even like, does she actually love him, or is it just like a crush that's not ending because she's refusing to see anybody else because he was nice to her once? I mean, obviously in this show he's nice to her multiple times as their friendship grows, but I mean, like, the fall in love scene was one time he was nice to her, and it's like, how many other guys have been nice to you? Why didn't you fall in love with them? But or was that the first time a guy was ever nice to her and that's why she thinks that's now her forever person? I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I feel like I wish that they hadn't had her slip up with that confession, because then that would have put Nozaki into an awkward spot, especially since she clearly is not yet ready to be in a relationship, maturity level wise. But again, I liked the festival scene as a whole. I thought the fireworks artwork was pretty. I liked how each of the characters were interacting with multiple characters before eventually ending up at the end of the festival with their pairings, except of course Mayu and Mikoshiba, who haven't met yet because we didn't get that far and we didn't get a season 2. So having said all that, strong episode, not the best ever. I decided to give it a 7 out of 10. Because while I think it was a good episode, it was not without its flaws. And especially for the finale, if they were planning not to have a season 2, I know the manga is ongoing, but if they weren't going to continue with the manga, I would have liked a little bit of closure to the relationship. You know, like that they could have made something up, like an anime-only ending, to give us that closure. So, the season 1 rankings for my personal ranking, because this is the finale, are set in stone, and in first we have There Are Times When Men Must Fight, which I said when that episode aired was going to be number 1, hands down, and it was. In second, we have Say Hello to the New Heroine. In third, I'll Cast a Spell on You. In fourth, The Prince Girl of the School's Problems. In fifth, This Love ... is being turned into a shoujo manga. This episode came in sixth. If This Feeling Isn't Love, Then There Is No Love at All. Seventh was The Man Who Envisions Love. Eighth, Do You Have Enough Excitement? Ninth, Let's Rice. 10th, Violence versus the Prince. 11th was What Strengthened Is Our Bond and Our Reigns. And then in last place, 12th is the manga artist's brain, Nozaki-Kun. Which brings us to our final segment, the series ranking so far, where we're going to be ranking Season 1 against the special episodes that followed. And Season 1, on their mostly objective ranking, ended with a final score of 83 out of 120, which is 69.17%. And then on the personal side, Season 1 ended with a score of 84 out of 120, which gives us a ranking of 70%. And with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-Kun Episode 12. If This Feeling Isn't Love, Then There Is No Love at All. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.